This wasn't just love. It was a call from the universe. People say you fell in love, but what if you didn't fall at all? What if you were pulled, drawn by a force deeper than logic, stronger than desire, older than your memories? This wasn't mere chemistry or romance. This was a cosmic collision. Carl Jung once said, "The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed." But here's the part most people overlook. Not all reactions feel magical. Some feel destructive, some like staring into a mirror you never asked to see. Often, what we call love is actually a spiritual assignment. You didn't just meet a person. You encountered a portal to your past wounds, your hidden desires, the pieces of yourself buried long ago. Only love could unearth them. This wasn't simply a relationship, it was shadow work in disguise. The unconscious orchestrated what your ego could never plan. Your soul recognized a missing piece in someone else and moved mountains to reach it, not to complete you, but to break, rebuild, and awaken the parts of you that were never fully alive. True love doesn't just comfort. It confronts. It triggers what's unhealed. It challenges the version of you that isn't ready, so you can become the version that is. This wasn't love, it was a summoning. You thought you found the one, but maybe you found a mirror instead. And what reflected back wasn't them, it was you, your shadow, your longing, your forgotten self. If someone has ever stirred your soul so intensely it hurt, if they awakened emotions you didn't know you could feel, it wasn't random. It was Jungian synchronicity, divine disruption, the beginning of individuation, the path toward wholeness. Hear this clearly. You didn't just fall in love. You were chosen for transformation. Let's go deeper. Here are 10 signs, according to Jung's philosophy, that what you experienced wasn't ordinary love. It was a psychological initiation, a sacred mirror revealing your authentic self beneath the masks. By the end of this video, you won't just view love differently, you'll understand yourself more profoundly. Chapter 1. They arrive when your shadow is ready. You don't meet them because you're lonely. You don't meet them because you're ready. You meet them because your shadow, the part of you that smiles for photos, plays it safe, avoids mirrors, is finally ready. Your soul whispers, it's time. Time to remember. Time to uncover. Time to feel again. Jung taught that the shadow contains everything we've denied, repressed, or disowned, not because it's evil, but because we were told it was unlovable. When someone enters your life and you feel a nearly cosmic pull, it's not just chemistry. It's a reunion of forgotten parts of you, seeking integration. They weren't an accident. They were summoned, not by your conscious mind, but by your wounds, your inner child. Every buried belief you never dared confront. Every glance feels like an X-ray. Every conversation peels back a layer. Every silence carries echoes of unspoken truths you've always felt. This isn't just attraction, it's soul activation. They don't just give you butterflies. They expose your broken pieces, awaken emotions you thought were healed, trigger insecurities you buried, and surface fears that appear only when something real enters the room. The deeper the connection, the louder your shadow speaks. You'll flinch, overthink, and sabotage, not because they're wrong for you, but because your shadow has never been this close to the light. This isn't a romantic movie. It's transformation. The person you've met isn't your missing half. They're the mirror you weren't ready to face. Real love doesn't just comfort. It confronts. It doesn't only celebrate your strengths. It holds up your weaknesses and asks, are you ready to love both? If it hurts, if it overwhelms, if it feels like home and a storm at once, that's because your soul is cracking open, and your shadow is finally ready to be seen. Chapter 2. The strangely familiar connection. Sometimes, when you meet someone, there's an unusual pause inside you, not from fear, but from a deep, aching recognition. It's as if a dormant part of you has just awakened. They don't feel new. They feel like a memory you forgot, like a recurring dream where someone has always been missing, until now. Carl Jung called this synchronicity, meaningful coincidences that your conscious mind can't fully explain, but your unconscious instantly recognizes. Meeting them might not truly be a first encounter. It's your soul finally catching up to something it's always known. The way they speak, the way they look at you, it's like they've seen you before. Not your face, but your inner truth. You feel seen, not only for who you are now, but for who you were and who you were meant to become. This is what Jung described as archetypes, unconscious patterns that repeat across lifetimes, guiding us toward people who carry a message, a lesson or a mirror. When they enter your life, it's not chaos or sudden sparks. It's recognition, inner silence, a quiet relief from something ancient within you. Oh, it's you, your soul seems to sigh. In that moment, logic fades. Ego releases control. Time feels fluid. What remains is pure presence, a force both magnetic and peaceful. Explaining it to others feels impossible. How do you describe a connection that didn't begin in this life? Something that seems like a memory from before your birth. The familiarity isn't about comfort. It's about alignment with your unconscious blueprint, the patterns, wounds, and dreams that shaped you long before now. You weren't merely drawn to them. You were remembering them, not as a person, but as a reflection of something sacred within you, something that only now feels safe enough to surface. When this connection happens, it awakens you. It isn't just love, it's recognition. Your souls have touched before, but now you're awake enough to notice. Chapter 3. Intense emotional triggers. People often say love should feel peaceful. But what if real love feels like war, not with your partner, but within yourself? You meet them, your heart opens, and your hidden pain surfaces, not because they hurt you, but because they mirror the parts of yourself that still ache. Jung observed that people will go to great lengths to avoid confronting their own soul. But a soulmate won't let you escape. They won't let you numb yourself or pretend everything is fine when you're actually breaking inside. It's not cruelty, it's activation. Their presence brings your unfinished emotional work into view. One compliment may stir feelings of unworthiness. One moment of silence might awaken abandonment wounds. One misunderstanding can make your past resurface. This is no ordinary love. This is soul-level healing. They touch wounds you may have forgotten, not to hurt you, but to bring them into the light. The more deeply they trigger you, the more profoundly you're being called to heal. It's a paradox. Love like this can hurt immensely. Yet it's not the love causing pain. It's the unresolved wounds you've carried for years, now coming forward. They are the catalyst, the mirror, the guide showing you where you still struggle to love yourself. This is what Jung called shadow work, the sacred, messy process of facing the parts of yourself you've rejected or suppressed. True love isn't afraid of your shadow. It steps into it and asks, will you still choose yourself even when you feel broken? So yes, love can trigger, shake, and open you completely. But it does so for one reason, to reveal the door you've been too afraid to enter. And when you finally step through it, you don't just fall in love with them. You reclaim the lost pieces of yourself. Sometimes the person who challenges you most is the one your soul chose to set you free. Chapter 4. Synchronicity. You weren't meant to be there that day. You almost cancelled. They almost didn't show. Yet somehow your paths crossed, your eyes met, and in that moment everything shifted. You might call it coincidence, luck, or fate, but Carl Jung called it synchronicity. Jung described synchronicity as two seemingly unrelated events converging in time, carrying a deeper significance that defies logic. It's not random. It's meaningful, perfectly timed, and soul-aligned. You didn't just meet them by chance. You were meant to meet. That unexpected message, the missed flight, the mutual friend connecting you unknowingly, none of it was luck. It was a divine breadcrumb trail, and your soul followed it. Before your physical meeting, your energies had already interacted. Before your first hello, your unconscious minds had already aligned. When the timing finally matched in this realm, it wasn't by accident, it was a calling. Jung believed the unconscious constantly guides us, orchestrating people and events with precision, not to make life easier, but to awaken us when it's time for your growth. Your unconscious draws in the person who matches your frequency, the one who stirs your truth, triggers your next chapter, and whose presence you feel more than understand. Logically, it might not make sense, but emotionally, spiritually, and cosmically, it does. True connections aren't scheduled. They don't follow checklists. They happen when your soul aligns, even if your mind is still confused. That's how you know it's real. It bypasses logic and speaks directly to your destiny. Next time you call it an accidental meeting, pause. That moment might have been the one where your shadow met its mirror, and your future began to unfold. Chapter 5. They challenge your false self. We all wear masks, not out of deceit, but because we learned it was safer to perform than to be seen. We shape identities for survival, not authenticity. We become the strong one, the smart one, the kind one, a version the world accepts and praises, even if it hides who we truly are. Jung called this the persona, the mask we use to navigate society. Beneath it lies the self, raw, real, divine. Then they arrive. Somehow this person doesn't buy the act. They're not impressed by your success, charm, or confidence. They see past the mask and connect with your essence. It feels intense, because being seen without your mask isn't romantic, it's terrifying. It's like standing naked in front of someone holding a mirror. Your ego dies a little, and they challenge your habits, beliefs, and the stories you've told yourself to cope. They don't try to fix you. Their presence simply doesn't align with your illusion. They disrupt the role you've been playing and confront the false identity you built to feel loved. True love doesn't flatter your facade, it shatters it. It strips away everything that isn't you, forcing you to sit in the discomfort of your own truth and meet the self buried beneath performance. Yes, it's vulnerable and exposing. It's terrifying but sacred. Being loved for your mask is validation. Being chosen without it is healing. They don't love the character. They love the soul behind the costume. That love feels like remembering, not romance. It doesn't make you more impressive. It makes you honest. And that's when true healing begins. Chapter 6. You see your shadow through them. At first, you think it's them. They seem distant, cold, too intense, or unavailable. But then a deeper question arises. Is this really who they are, or is this a reflection of me? You're warned, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. Nowhere is this truer than in love. Soulmates don't just reflect your dreams, they reflect your shadows. Jealousy, control issues, fear of abandonment, unworthiness, emotional armor. Everything you've disowned appears in someone else. You might think they're the problem. They seem unavailable, distant, or critical, but the truth is, they're activating wounds that already existed. Their energy resonates with your buried pain. This is projection, seeing in others what we haven't yet acknowledged in ourselves. The deeper the connection, the stronger the projection. You feel judged because you judge yourself. Abandoned because part of you neglects your own needs. Unloved because you haven't fully learned to love yourself. This is the awakening. When you stop blaming them, you start meeting yourself. You move from asking, why are they like this, to which part of me needs attention? Soulmate connections are sacred because they reveal where we're still bleeding. At first you resist, argue, and pull away, but over time, if you're willing, you realize it was never about fixing them. It was about reclaiming the parts of yourself you've ignored, anger, neediness, fear, and the inner child longing to be seen. Facing your shadow invites wholeness. Until you do, you'll keep attracting it, blaming it, and repeating patterns. True love doesn't just bring peace, it brings confrontation. If they triggered your deepest wounds, it wasn't punishment, it was the beginning of liberation. Chapter 7. They disrupt the flow of your life. They didn't simply enter it. They shook it like an unexpected storm, a lightning bolt in a calm sky. One moment life felt predictable, safe, familiar. Then they arrived. Suddenly nothing made sense. Old friendships grew distant. Familiar routines felt empty. The things you once chased no longer excited you. Inside, your world became a battlefield, but listen carefully. This wasn't chaos. It was an initiation. Carl Jung taught that every genuine spiritual awakening begins with disruption. Before rebirth, your false life must collapse. You may have thought they came to be your partner, to hold your hand, to play comforting roles. But they weren't sent to protect your routine. They came to dismantle your illusions, to awaken a truth so deep inside you that your old life couldn't contain it. This is what Jung called individuation, the sacred process where the ego breaks down so your true self can emerge. When they walked in, they didn't just touch your heart, they shook your foundation. Everything built on falsehood began to crack. Friends who no longer resonated with you fell away. Goals that once mattered felt hollow. Comfort zones became cages. Silence grew louder. Emotions became messy. You felt things you couldn't explain. It may have felt like chaos, but it was cosmic construction. Sometimes, the universe doesn't send peace first. It sends disruption to dismantle the version of you that's been pretending. That's how you know this connection was real. It didn't just fit into your life. It forced you to rebuild it. This isn't destruction. It's divine demolition. The clearing away of what no longer aligns so a new version of you can rise. Jung said, "In all chaos there is a cosmos. In all disorder, a secret order. That secret order is your soul blueprint, and their arrival sparked it. They didn't ruin your life. They redefined it. The confusion you feel now is not the end. It's the start of your true path." Transformation never begins with clarity. It begins with disruption. Chapter 8, they don't complete you. They reveal your wholeness. Let go of the fantasy. This isn't a Hollywood story, a broken heart meets savior plot. They didn't come to fill a void. You were never incomplete. The world teaches us to seek outside ourselves, to find someone to fix us, to crave a partner as our better half, to believe we're only half a soul waiting to be rescued. But that's a dangerous illusion. Jung dismantled it when he said, "Wholeness is not achieved by cutting off a portion of one's being, but through integration, and integration only happens when you stop looking outward for completion and start looking inward for truth." Someone who enters your life at this level doesn't complete you. They awaken you. They reflect the self you forgot, the confident version buried under fear, the passionate self that dimmed to please others, the fearless dreamer silenced by the world's demands. They don't rescue you, they remind you. That's why it feels intense, spiritual, unlike anything else. They see the parts of you that were disowned, discarded, or denied, and hold space for you to reclaim them. This is the work of a true soulmate, not to be your missing half, but to help you remember you were always whole. You may have forgotten because of trauma, rejection, childhood conditioning, or years of trying to be enough for everyone but yourself. They act as a mirror, not a fantasy, not a fairy tale, reflecting your full self, and that reflection isn't just beauty, it's strength, buried power, forgotten depth, divine wholeness. That's why it can feel raw, even unsettling. When someone stops trying to save you and instead sees you as already whole, you confront the truth. Maybe you never needed saving. Maybe you just needed remembering. That's what they do. They guide you back to yourself, not by fixing, but by reflecting. Not by healing, but by creating the space for you to heal yourself. That is real love, not dependency, not fantasy, but soul-level integration. Someone who truly loves you will never tell you you're incomplete. They'll remind you, simply through their presence, that you were always everything. Chapter 9. The relationship feels both divine and impossible. There's a sensation you can't quite explain. From the moment you met them, it didn't feel like chance. It felt cosmic, fated, as if written long before you were born. You didn't choose them. You recognized them, in their voice, their eyes, in the way your soul seemed to breathe again after years. But then the pain appeared. The timing was wrong, the distance too great, the emotions too intense. One of you wasn't ready. Life intervened. Suddenly, this divine connection began to feel like a divine contradiction. How can something feel so right and yet be impossible? Carl Jung called it the tension of opposites, the sacred psychological friction between two poles, conscious and unconscious, ego and soul, control and transformation. When someone touches your unconscious so deeply, awakening buried shadows, it's not simplicity you encounter, it's alchemy. And alchemy is inherently messy. Fire, pressure, destruction, because something within you must die for something sacred to emerge. This is why it feels both divine and devastating. You crave them, yet being near them is overwhelming. You long for union, but your wounds sabotage closeness. You try to leave, but the connection pulls you back like gravity. This isn't confusion, it's transformation. It's not here for convenience, it's here to awaken you. You're not just in a relationship, you're standing at the edge of your inner universe, looking into a mirror that reflects your highest potential and deepest fears. And no, it's not supposed to be easy. Easy doesn't change you. This is about expansion, not comfort. You want to hold on, run, fight, and forget all at once. That's the paradox of a soul-aligned connection. It doesn't give clarity immediately. It delivers contradiction. It draws you into a sacred space where pain becomes purpose and confusion becomes consciousness. That tension, the tug between desire and despair, is not dysfunction. It's divine design, sculpting your soul into its next evolution. Jung taught that this tension must be held, not resolved. Your longing, ache, and frustration are essential ingredients for growth. You're being stretched, broken open, made to hold more than your ego can bear. Through this relationship, you're becoming more than you were, so if it feels impossible, maybe it's not the end. Perhaps it's the sacred pressure cracking open your false self, inviting your soul to step forward. This was never meant to be easy, it was meant to be transformative. And transformation always demands something in return. Your comfort, expectations, old identity. But what you receive is your truth. Chapter 10, love, brings you back to yourself. Some stories don't unfold as we imagined. Some hearts don't stay. Hands once held fade into memories. And some souls, no matter how divine the connection, don't walk with you forever. And that's okay, because this was never just about them. It was about you. Whether they remain or vanish like smoke, whether the story ends in lifelong commitment or quiet heartbreak, the truth is the same. You are changed. They didn't just touch your heart, they cracked it open. They didn't only make you feel love, they made you confront everything unloved within you. And in doing so, they didn't just alter your path, they transformed you. Jung called this sacred journey individuation, the path back to yourself. Not the self shown to the world, not the one shaped by survival, people-pleasing, or roles, but the real self, buried beneath trauma, hidden under the mask, guarded by your shadow. This love, as divine, painful, and complex as it was, became the key. Through them, you saw yourself, your fears, light, darkness, potential, pain, and power. You recognized what needed healing, felt emotions you hadn't allowed yourself to feel, and cried in ways you didn't know you could. You awakened desires, dreams, wounds, and truths long silenced. They didn't save you, but they awakened the version of you who could. They didn't complete you, but they revealed your forgotten wholeness. Perhaps that was the point all along. This love wasn't a destination. It was a mirror, reflecting everything you're becoming and reminding you of everything you already are. You thought you met your soulmate, but really, you met the part of yourself your soul had been waiting to reclaim, the part abandoned, judged, or deemed unworthy of love. Through loving them, you began reclaiming yourself. So no, this wasn't just love, it was a spiritual initiation. It brought your unconscious to the surface, made your shadow visible, shattered illusions, and burned down masks. From the ashes, you rose different, deeper, wiser, more whole. Even if they're gone, even if the story ended, don't call it a failure. Look at yourself now. You no longer wait to be loved. You're learning to love yourself. You no longer flee from pain. You face it, integrate it, become one with it. The greatest gift this love gave wasn't the relationship itself. It was the return to your true self. Real love leads you home, not to someone else, but to the person you were always meant to be. This wasn't just a video. It was a soul awakening. You didn't just watch. You felt it in your chest, in the depths of your past. This wasn't content. It was confrontation with the love you lost, the version of you that forgot itself, the truths you've avoided. So now what? Scroll to the next video and numb yourself? Or claim the awakened version of you? If this resonated, type below. I didn't just love them, I met my soul. Not for likes, not for views, but as a sacred declaration that this chapter changed you. If you're done consuming empty content, done sleeping through your own destiny, subscribe. This channel isn't for the fake or followers, it's for the awakened, those who came to rise, burn, rebuild. Your healing is sacred. Your pain is a portal. Your story is just beginning. Let's go deeper together. Subscribe, awaken, and never forget, you didn't lose them. You found you.